I'm a medical esthetician, but I'm also a hairy wookabee. My family genetics are very hairy, and I literally work in a field alongside and with doctors and dermatologists to help people with their skin. My focus is things like acne and scarring, but yes, I have worked with laser hair removal and IPL hair removal, both of which are actually very different things. And I've actually waxed people before. Fun fact, the reason I don't wax people is because I literally waxed off somebody's eyebrow. You see, when you're learning in aesthetics, you have to practice on people. This was back in 2009, and I put the wax down on the eyebrow, and then I put the little piece of paper, the wax strip, and then I pushed it in. And I didn't realize that when I was pushing it down, I was pushing the wax into the eyebrow. So when I ripped it off, the whole eyebrow left her face.
Did you really just do that?
So I don't do that anymore. But there are so many different ways to approach hair removal, and specifically a lot of questions about IPL. And I've actually IPL'd practically half of my body. I did my leg with the Kenzie, I did my armpit with the You-Like, and then I'm doing my toe with this other You-Like who we're working with on a portion of this video. And while I have major updates on what has happened to my body after using IPL for 3 years, and what happens when you stop, I'm here to answer your biggest and most burning questions about intense pulse light, specifically for hair removal at home. The biggest question people have is, does IPL remove hair permanently? The answer is yes and no. It depends on your hair and who you are. Overall, yes, IPL is a permanent hair removal process, very similar to laser hair removal. However, with both IPL and laser hair removal, you need to do it multiple times and for multiple sessions. See, the way our hair naturally grows, whether it's on our legs, our groin, our face, or even out of our head, is that it happens in cycles. Sometimes those hairs are just there hanging out, and other times they're in the growth phase. But because they're constantly growing at different rates, if you're trying to remove them, you need to treat or zap or fry them multiple times in order to make sure that you're getting the hairs in the right cycle and you're getting all of the hairs that go through that cycle. Now here's the thing, how does IPL and laser work long term? That also depends on your skin. Is your skin tone and color versus your hair tone and color a good candidate for IPL or for laser? For most people, things like IPL keep them relatively hairless for like 5 years plus. But you may notice that there's 1, 2, or even 5 little straggly hairs that just get through. Whether it's laser or IPL, that's totally normal. However, if your skin tone and color and your hair tone and color is not a match for IPL, you might go through 6 or 12 sessions and notice no difference. The hair is not just growing back, but it just hasn't stopped growing. And that means there's not enough contrast between your skin color and your hair color. So overall, yes, IPL is a relatively permanent option because once you zap the inside of that hair follicle, it's really not growing back. The only way that you're gonna get hair regrowth is if you miss a spot. Next big question is, what's the difference between IPL and laser? Well, IPL is intense pulse light. It's basically multiple wavelengths of light that are shot into the skin. They're shot at the hair at the very base of it. It heats that area up and it basically kills it, preventing it from growing back in the future. How is that different from laser? Laser is much more intense, it is much more targeted, and it needs to be administered by a medical professional, usually a doctor or dermatologist if you want to be on the safe side, whereas IPL can be used at home. Does one work better than the other? Depends on who. Again, if you have black, ebony skin and dark hair, you might do better with something like an Alexandrite laser. Whereas if you have a Fitzpatrick type 2 or 3 skin and you have really black hair, again, contrasting with your skin tone, that's when something like IPL might be right for you. Laser usually doesn't have much downtime, IPL doesn't either, but depending on the laser or the IPL, it can heat up a little bit. So if you're super sensitive and you're using IPL at home, it's very important to get the correct IPL device, specifically one that has a cooling technology so you don't leave with like burns on your skin. I was on YouTube and I saw this girl who had used the similar device that I did, the Kenzie, and it was fine on my leg, but for her, it literally left her burn marks. This is what I currently use. This is from You-Like. There's the Air 3 along with the Sapphire, but both of them have basically these little cooling tips, and these allow you to use it on sensitive areas like the face, like the armpit or the groin, and they don't leave those burn marks for those who are a little bit more sensitive. If you go into clinic and you do it professionally or get it done with a laser, there's less likelihood that it's going to burn the skin because you literally have another person administering it. But if you do want to do it less expensive at home, there are great options. You just need to make sure that you're getting one that matches the sensitivity of your skin. Next question, can IPL be used on pubic hair? Yes, it can, and it's actually best used on coarse, wiry hairs, such as those in the groin area or in the axillary, aka armpit area. Specifically, those hairs are really wiry, very pigmented. They're usually like a black or dark color. And if you do have a skin tone that creates contrast, it can work really well. Again, just don't be putting things in places where they don't belong. If you are prone to pigmentation in those areas, you don't want to do that. You want to speak to a doctor or derm first. And again, you want to make sure that you're using a device that is sensitive skin friendly. Both of these, again, from YouLike, are sensitive skin friendly. I've used the Kenzie. Other people that I know have used the Kenzie. I would not use the Kenzie in sensitive areas because it does heat up. The only cooling technology that I know of is from YouLike. This is the one that I do use on literally my face and my armpit areas. This is what I do recommend, but make sure that you're finding one that is sensitive skin safe, especially for those areas. Do you have to shave when using IPL hair removal? Shockingly, yes, and there is a reason why. A lot of people don't actually recognize that, but when you are trying to get this light into the skin, you're trying to basically target the hair. If the hairs are growing and super wiry, this light cannot be concentrated in the right area. So whether it's laser or IPL, you want to shave first, then you want to use this over the skin. It literally zaps that hair so that it doesn't grow back in the future. The way that I approach my IPL routine is to, number one, get rid of hair, but also number two, to kind of help with any darkness or pigmentation. And what I do is literally benzoyl peroxide wash in the shower. I use that to kind of deal with some underarm odor. It works very well, and it also works on my back acne. I shave, I just use a Billy razor, works really well. Then I get out and I use an IPL device, and I use it on the cool setting. This one actually has 5 settings and a body setting. This one has 3, but it has 3 comfort modes. So depending on how sensitive you are and your budget, one may be better than the other for you. This one's better for sensitive skin, but I like this one because it stands up a little bit more and it's a little bit easier for me to hold. Even though it is a little bit heavier, this one's a little bit more lightweight. Either way, I can use these on my full body, on my armpit area, or on my face even, because it does have that cool touch technology. If you do have like little wiry hairs, you can use this here too. But when I'm doing the IPL routine, this one takes me maybe 7 to 10 minutes. This one takes about 5 or 6, just because this one is more powerful, but I've been using this one on my armpit, so this is the one that I use. And afterwards, I actually use a vitamin C in my armpits. I don't go out and buy a new one. I use one that just didn't work for my face. And that vitamin C really helps out in this area. Next question is, what happens if you don't shave? I actually don't know the answer to that. I have tried using IPL on like stubble. I actually have not seen an issue with that. The stubble is actually kind of cool for me as well, as I was using the Kenzie on my leg and as I've used this one on my armpit and this one on my toe. I've actually noticed that the stubble grows back unevenly the more I use them, which is fantastic. This one works in 3 to 4 weeks. This one works in 4 to 5. But if you don't shave, what would happen? I would assume that the light would not be as targeted, so it would probably take longer for you to see results overall, but I don't think it would be detrimental. I don't know if anybody knows. Tell me. Does IPL work on the face, specifically the upper lip? Yes, both at home and in clinic. IPL is fantastic for the face. It's actually used for things like acne and acne marks. It can be used for redness, even for minor scarring. There are better treatments for acne and acne scars, but it is something that's used medically and that can work. And if you want to remove hair on the upper lip or on the jaw or the chin, yes, it works very well. Again, the biggest thing is comfort. You do not want to burn your face. There are other at-home IPL devices that have gotten warm on my skin. I would not put those on my face or sensitive areas. These, I can use both of them on my face. Again, this is the one I've been using in my armpit, but I would recommend this one for the face just because it is more lightweight. It is more powerful. This is 21 joules, whereas this one is 19 joules as a measure of energy, essentially. But this one has 3 comfort settings, so it's much more safe for the face. And it's actually a little bit easier to get in some of those hard to reach areas. This one, you see how the beveled area is just larger? The actual area that the light comes out of is the same, but the device itself is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier. So again, great ergonomically. I can set it down on my countertop, shove it in my armpit, on my leg, whatever. But for smaller areas like the lip or the toe, if you want to target some of those smaller areas or just have flexibility, this one's lighter weight, it's more powerful, and it is more comfortable. So this is what I would recommend. Ingrown hairs. So painful. You should not IPL over an ingrown hair. You should exfoliate that ingrown hair or put a pimple patch on it, let it come up and out of the skin. Then once that ingrown hair is taken care of, you can shave the area and then IPL. IPL will prevent ingrown hairs from coming back in the future. Again, ingrown hairs are literally hairs that get stuck under the skin and they ball up, or they're hairs that grow up and out of the skin, curve back over and like re-stab you as if they're not uncomfortable and rude enough. They just gotta come on up and stab you over and over again. Very painful. IPL should not be used on ingrown hairs. It just can't really get the light into the skin where it needs to go. However, when using IPL, you're literally shooting this light into the hair follicle, killing the hair at the root. And if you kill the hair at the root, that hair cannot grow back. So it can't become ingrown and ball up in the future, or it can't grow out and back into your skin. Now, when you're first using IPL, if you're really prone to razor burn or ingrown hairs, again, you need to shave in order to use IPL. So you may get some ingrowns at first. I actually started getting ingrowns in my armpit when I started shaving my armpits in preparation for IPL. But now, one of my armpits is ingrown hair free and the other one is not. I'll insert some photos right here so you can actually see the difference, which is pretty astounding. But because I no longer need to shave, or there's less hairs overall for me to shave, those ingrowns just aren't happening, which is fantastic, especially if you're someone who wears tight clothing like leggings. A lot of people don't realize that leggings or like gym clothes that are really tight on the skin can cause ingrowns, but they can literally compress your body, your leg, including your skin, and promote those hairs to ball up under the skin instead of being able to escape. Fun fact, but true. How many sessions or how long do these take to work? This again varies drastically based on your skin, your body, etc. In general, it's going to vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. For example, they say that this one works in 3 to 4 weeks, this one works to 5 or 6. In professional settings, they usually say you need 6 to 12 to see permanent hair removal, whereas you'll start seeing results after 2 or 3 sessions, but this is highly dependent on your skin, on your body, and whether or not your skin tone and color versus your hair tone and color is a fit for IPL. Is it painful? Depends on your pain tolerance. In clinic, some of the laser stuff can be painful depending on how intense it is, and sometimes you're even given a numbing cream based on how intense that is. But in general, I would say it is fairly painless. Even IPL in clinic is pretty painless. Now, again, if your skin is really sensitive to heat and you're using a device at home that heats up and burns the skin, yes, that is going to be painful. But if you use something that has a sensitive skin or a cool touch, I find it to be relatively painless. Both of these have been painless for me. Sometimes this one, the Sapphire, actually gives me like a little, like a knee-jerk reaction. It doesn't hurt, it's just weird to feel the cooling sensation and to feel the fan on the back. It hasn't been a bad thing for me, but that is something I've experienced. This one has 3 comfort settings and I've never experienced that with this. Again, Mackenzie, never painful for me. I literally used it on one leg for 1 year. Not painful at all, it just did get warm. And for some people, especially if they're using it for long periods of time, like an hour plus, that could heat up and cause issues. Rose Skin Company, I've never used. I'm sure there are other brands out there. Please leave them in the comments so that I can look into them. But in general, no, IPL is relatively painless, and if it's hurting, you should stop. Do you regret IPL or laser hair removal? That is such a personal question. Personally, no, but I was kind of afraid that I would. I am someone who either commits fully to something, like relationships or doing YouTube for 13 years, or I am someone who is so wishy-washy that I want all of my options. Like, do not pin me down with a color. I want to wear every single color of the rainbow. My closet looks like 5 different people live with me, okay? And when it comes to me removing the hair off of one of my legs and my armpit and now my toe, I was actually kind of worried. I was like, I kind of want the choice to be a hairy wokabee. What if I want to like be a raging feminist and look like a raging feminist and just embrace my body hair? Fun fact, I once actually grew out my underarm hair and dyed my underarm hair purple. That happened. I kind of wanted the option to do that, and I was kind of worried that I'd miss it. But then when I think about how I feel with or without hair, I am me regardless. I don't really feel one way or the other. But when I rub my legs together in bed, I like the feeling of them being smooth. That is a personal preference for me. So overall, no, I do not regret removing the hair from one of my legs and now one of my armpits and one of my toes. If anything, it makes it easier for me because I don't feel the need to shave. Sometimes, unfortunately, societal stigma has gotten to me when I wear a dress, or if I'm traveling or on vacation, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to wear that dress, or I can't wear this swimsuit because I'm afraid of hair sticking out. I now don't have to worry about that. But if you're someone who wants to embrace your body hair, or if you're someone who's like, hey, I have a unibrow that I like remove, but someday unibrows might be in and I might want to follow that trend, or this is intrinsic to me, don't be doing this then. Do not succumb to societal expectations. If you want to remove something, do it for you. It was like a long process to figure out what I actually wanted and what I actually like. So while only half of my body is like hairless right now, I do think that I'm going to do the other half, and so far, no, I do not regret it. Why do I have stubble after IPL hair removal? Great question. Whether it's at home or in the clinic, remember that we're shooting this intense pulse light into the skin to kill the hair. But remember, those hairs grow back at different rates, and sometimes the IPL won't kill kill all of them, which is why you need to do it for a few weeks or over multiple settings professionally. So the reason you get stubble is because some of those hairs that are in different stages are growing back, or because the IPL wasn't powerful enough or it missed a spot. And again, if you do it over time, usually you see that hair start to reduce. The most important question that everyone has asked 50 times, does IPL actually work? Again, it depends. And I would say the biggest thing it depends upon is your actual skin versus hair color. If you have black ebony skin and black hairs, this is not going to work for you. You want to go get alexandrite lasers or look at other options. If you have alabaster, pasty, white skin, and you have literally clear hairs, this is not going to work for you. You're going to want to use another method of hair removal. But if you look at your skin and you see that your hairs are a different color than the skin, this is a great option. This looks for contrast in the skin. It targets that dark pigmented hair, which is why you shave first and it shoots that light in and it goes and it fries them all off. And that is how it works. So if you look down and you see contrast, you're good to go. But if you look down and your hairs are clear or your hairs are the same color as your skin, it's not gonna work. Now, the second thing that it depends upon is if you use it. You could buy this device, never ever use it, never put it in your armpit, it's not gonna work. But if you do it routinely and regularly, if you follow the manufacturer's instructions, yes, it should. And if it doesn't, freaking return them. Get your money back. If you are getting it done in clinic, it's kind of hard to return a session. That really sucks because you are paying for someone's time to administer it. But if you went to a professional clinic to get IPL hair removal done and it literally didn't remove your hairs and you have before and after pictures, talk to them. They should be able to at least at minimum give you a discount. Because again, you are paying for someone's time whether it works or not. That's why I like the at-home ones, because you can return the device if you don't like it. And if it does work, then you're good as gold. But have that conversation. You remember that you're the customer. If you're unhappy, whether it's a product or a service in clinic, speak up about it kindly. You know, usually people, small businesses and companies, they try to be flexible, and you deserve to be happy with the service or the treatment that you're paying for. Overall, let me know what other questions you have that I didn't answer, because as your medical SD bestie who is now half hairless, I've got some news and some updates about what happens if you stop IPLing, specifically for a year. I have one leg that has some answers for you. Overall, always remember to stay hydrated both orally and topically. Reapply that SPF. Yes, you should be using SPF every single day, including after IPL, although it's more important after shaving, because shaving is technically a form of exfoliation. If you didn't know that, think about it, now you do. And overall, always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.